Hi friends, welcome to Top Scholar, the smart learning app. We are back again with another interesting topic and questions from here which can probably occur in your board examination since they also appeared in past 5 years. And today we are going to discuss questions from Towards Green Energy chapter, Maharashtra board 10th standard, and we will be discussing questions from 2019 to 2023 which were asked from this particular chapter. But before that, let's discuss the scheme of marks that can be asked from this chapter. So, as we can see that marking scheme from this chapter has been in the range of 1 mark to 3 marks, and from this chart, we can say that we had 1 mark question in 2019, 1 in 2020, 1 in 21, 3 questions in 22 and none in 23. So, we have here total of 6 questions which are going to be of 6 marks worth. For 2 marks question, we had 1 in 2019, 1 in 2020, 2 in 23. So, total we have here with us 4 questions that can get us 8 marks. For 3 marks question, we have had at least 1 question every year from this chapter, and in 21 we had 3 questions. So, the total question that we have here will get us 12 marks, right? So, let's move on and see it in a graphical representation so we can actually understand what is the weightage of questions coming from this chapter and how much, which topics and which mark question you should be paying more attention to. So, if you can see here, we have had maximum amount of question, that is 4 questions coming from the year 2022, and if you see that every year we have had at least 1 question of 3 marks from this chapter been asked, and 2 marks question chapter was maximum in 2023 year, that is our last year question. And also except 23, we have had many questions coming from this chapter of 1 mark, at least 1 question, and maximum question of 1 mark we have had from the year 2022. So, in 2022 we had 3 questions of 1 mark, and that means we have had 3 marks in this chapter in the year 2022. So, let's find out which are those questions which were asked in these past year and try to solve those questions, because the probability of questions repeating itself in these years, in the coming years, is also very high, and also you can know that which chapter or which topic from this chapter you can focus on to be better prepared. Okay, so let's move on to the first question from the year 2019. Solve the following question. Identify the process shown in the figure and name it. It's a very short answer question carrying 1 mark. So, what this process looks like. So, here we have an atom of uranium 235 and 236. So, this is having a split or a fission, which is releasing energy, which is splitting further and also again releasing energy. So, this is an example or a representation of nuclear energy generation from uranium atom, uranium 235, which is in radioactive form is uranium 236, right? So, uranium 236 has radioactive energy which causes fission of atoms further and further to release more and more energy. Now, this energy needs to be controlled, otherwise the splitting may not stop and it can go out of control, destroying everything its surrounding. So, there are nuclear power plants where this energy is generated in a controlled form, and this is what this entire figure is representing. So, this gets you 1 mark here in 2019. Okay, now again in the same year we had one question of 2 mark of short answer type question. What are the advantage of hydroelectric power generation? Very easy question. What do you mean by hydroelectric power generation? That is the power or energy generated with the help of moving water. Okay, so because of that energy is generated, it is a very clean form of energy, it's a renewable form of energy, and there are many more advantages. You can elaborate on it, get 2 marks easy. Now next question from 2019 we have a 3 mark question. Okay, so this is the maximum marks carrying question from this year. Observe the diagram and answer the question. So this is the diagram that is given to you. Which energy is generated from the power plant? Here we see that there is a fuel that is being the source of energy, and it is generating some form of energy. What energy is this? This is the electrical energy. This is the final output. Okay, so here we have to state which energy is generated from the power plant, that is electrical energy. State its source. There is some sort of fuel that is being used here. So this is going to be a thermal reaction. So this is a thermal energy. It can be coal, petroleum, or natural gas, anything, any source can be used. Which is more eco-friendly, power generation from coal or power generation from natural gas? Why? So what has more stored chemical energy which can be converted into electrical energy? That definitely will be more powerful source of energy. But what would be more eco-friendly? The one which creates less pollution, right? One which is not giving out any byproduct. So here in this case, coal has a lot of fumes coming out, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is generated, which can be polluting our environment. So definitely not coal, but natural gas is a more eco-friendly form of energy, right? Now next question is from 2020. First one is MCQ type question carrying 1 mark. Incomplete combustion of fuel leads to the formation of dash. Your options are A. Carbon monoxide, B. Carbon dioxide, C. Chlorofluorocarbon, D. Hydrogen sulfide. So whenever there is a combustion that is occurring, so fuel, carbon dioxide is supposed to be released, but if there is an incomplete combustion, what is released? Carbon monoxide. So the correct answer here is carbon monoxide. Second question in the year 2020, give a scientific reason. Hydroelectric, solar and wind energy are called renewable energies. Again, it's a very simple question for 2 marks. These are very clean source of energy. They are renewable source of energy because it cannot be exhausted. We can use these sources again and again. It is in unlimited quantity, right? So elaborate on that for every form of energies, hydroelectric, solar and wind energy, and write about it, why they are known as renewable form of energies. Now let's move on to the next question of 2020. Make a table based on forms of energy and corresponding devices. So here we have electric. So which are the devices which uses electrical energy? Are lights, fans, and are different appliances, refrigerator, AC, TV, etc., etc. So you can write n number of devices because almost everything that we use in today's life, we use electricity for that. Mechanical, we have the devices name, sewing machine, bicycle. Thermal energy, we again have a lot of devices, furnaces, stoves, etc. that uses thermal energy. Then solar cooker, solar heater. These are the devices. What form of energy is it using? We have solar written all over here. So it is the solar energy, right? It gives you 3 marks. Very easy, correct? Now let's move on to the next year, that is 2021. Again, here we have the first question, which is a MCQ type question. In thermal power plants, the dash energy in coal is converted into electrical energy through several steps. Okay, so here what is the input energy? Coal. It is converted into electrical energy through several steps, obviously. So what is the energy in it? in the coal that is getting converted into electrical energy. If it is in coal, is it A, solar energy? Of course not, solar energy from sun. B, nuclear energy, it is from the radioactive components. C, thermal energy, or D, chemical energy. So it is the chemical energy which is stored inside the coal, which is getting converted into electrical energy through different steps, right? So the correct answer is D, chemical energy. Now, next is again similar question which we saw the first question, but this is a 3-mark question. It's a short answer type question, right? So it also has 3 sub questions in it. Looking at the diagram, you will have to answer these questions. First question, identify the reaction shown in the figure. Second question, where is this reaction used? And third, which atom is used in this reaction, right? So what reaction is this? This is a nuclear fission, right? It is a nuclear fission that is going on here. Where is this reaction used? It is reaction in nuclear power plants, right? And this is used as energies to run a lot of industry, generate electricity for huge spaces in metro cities, etc. Which atom is used in this reaction? Which atom is used in this reaction? Here we can see uranium, right? It is a radioactive atom. So that is used, uranium-236. Okay. Now, next question from 2022. We have 2 questions of 1 marks each. First question, state true or false, the turbines at the thermal power plant operates on solar energy. So here it is thermal and here it is solar. It doesn't match, right? So definitely it's false. The turbines at thermal power plant operates on a certain types of fuel. It can be coal, it can be natural gas, it can be any petroleum, right? And solar energy, it operates on solar energy which is received from the sun. So for that we require solar panels, correct? Now second question, which type of fuel is used in a thermal power plant? We just answered that, correct? So we have 2 marks here. Now let's move on to the next question. Complete the stages in an electric generator using wind energy. Okay, so obviously from wind energy, wind is freely available. It is a moving air, is called wind. It is freely available. How do we use it? How do we capture it and convert it into electric energy or any form of energy that we can use in our day-to-day life? So there are 4 steps to it. Okay, so we will have to fill these boxes, and second is write limitations in an electric generator using wind energy. Okay, so these 2 questions carry 3 marks. It is a short answer question, was asked in the year 2022. We will park this question here. We will answer it later in detail. Now, next question, the hydroelectric capacity of Koyna Dam is dash. It's also a MCQ type question. The options are A, 2400 megawatt, B, 1960 megawatt, C, 1900 megawatts, or D, 1961 megawatt. The correct answer is, what is it? You have to remember that this is a question which you have to memorize. It's a fact-based question. The answer is 1960 megawatt. Okay. Now, next question. We are now at 2023, our last year. Give scientific reason. It is absolutely necessary to control the fission reaction in nuclear power plants. Why is that so? It's a 2 marks question. So, we will have to mention all the hazards, all the repercussions if the nuclear fission is not controlled and it goes out of control, and what is the radioactive pollution that can be caused because of this particular fission reaction. Okay, if it is not controlled, if the power plant is not secure, or if there is a leakage, what can be the consequences? You have to mention those points. Then next question, what are the benefits of mixing ethanol with petrol and diesel? So it increases the or improves the efficiency with which the petrol or any other or diesel is used by the engines of the vehicle. Okay, so we will also answer this in better detail so that you can remember the answer to it. Now, next question, we have a 3 marks question asked in 2023. Answer the following question from the figure. So, the figure given here is a suggestive of what? A power generating house, right? So what is this power generation taking place from? What is the source? If you can see, there is a reservoir here, right? So there is a water body here and there is a huge wall that is representative of a dam, right? And there are points made here, A, B and C, if you can see, and the resulting outcome, there is a powerhouse here and electricity is generated, right? So this is a hydroelectric power plant. So based on this diagram, we have to answer the following questions. Okay, so the questions given are as follows. With reference to point B, the potential energy of how much water reservoir in the dam will be converted into the kinetic energy. What will be the effect on electricity generation if the channel taking water to the turbines starts at point A? What will be the effect on electricity generated if the channel taking water to the turbine starts at point C? So this is a 3 marks question. Let's look at the image again. So here the water starts from here. So that much water. So here is the opening of the gate. So here the water till here is only going to get converted into kinetic energy, right? And what if this opening was from here? So that is the second part of the question, that if the water which is getting released was from the point A. So in that case, what would have happened? There would have been a higher kinetic energy, because as with the height, the potential energy increases. So if the potential energy increases, the conversion of potential energy into kinetic energy is also dependent on the potential energy. So higher the potential energy, higher is the kinetic energy. So the energy generated if the reservoir gates were here, so in that case the energy released would have been higher. The third question is, what if it was from C? So since the reservoir gates, if it goes lower and lower, the potential energy also decreases and hence the kinetic energy would also decrease. So that is the reason why the optimum place is either B or it is much more at A. But as the potential energy increases and the kinetic energy increases, the same way the risk also increases because the energy is much more. So that is the reason why the reservoir walls are at an optimum level from B. Okay, but since potential energy would be higher at the point A, the kinetic energy would also be more at point A compared to that of B and compared to that of C. Correct? So this is how we have answered all the 3 questions here. You can elaborate it in much better way, and you can also give reasons to how these points will have different levels of potential energy and on which it is dependent on. So let's move on to the next question. We have the solution to the questions that we had discussed earlier. So let's find out if whatever we had guessed earlier was true or not. So this is the table based on forms of energy and corresponding devices. We have electricity here and the devices that we have to name. Mechanical, it is already given, sewing machine and bicycle. Thermal, we also have to write, and this solar cooker, solar heater are the devices given, and we have to mention the form of energy it uses. Let's see the solution to it. So here electric, fans, light, elevator, heater, oven, electric iron, television, refrigerator, mixer, grinder, anything you can write here. Next is mechanical, which was already given, sewing machine, bicycle. Then thermal. So thermal, chulha, furnace, steam engine, these run on thermal forms of energy. Next is what? Solar cooker and solar heater. So the form of energy is solar energy on which these devices work. Correct? Now next is what are the benefits of mixing ethanol with petrol and diesel? We had briefly discussed it. Let's see the solution to it. It reduces carbon dioxide emission from automobiles by 30%, thus decreasing pollution, right? So nowadays everything we need to do, we have to find out different ways how we can make our fuels more efficient and less pollution causing. So using the ethanol mixed with petrol and diesel, we can enhance the energy output as well as we can reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. That reduces the pollution by 30%. Correct? Ethanol plus petrol or diesel is a cleaning agent for car engines over the long run. So that also keeps the engines much more healthy. Now, improves the quantity of fuel. Okay, so if petroleum prices and diesel prices are increasing and is going to increase the way it is, mixing ethanol with it will also improve the quantity with that same price. Now, next question, complete the stages in an electric generator using wind energy. So, these are the 4 steps that we have to mention, and also write limitations in an electric generator using wind energy. So, let's see the solution to it. Wind with required velocity is the first primary requirement. This is what we require for wind, for electrical energy generation from wind, right? We need to have wind. Then second is wind turbine with large fins. You must have seen these kind of wind turbines in a lot of fields where which has large fins. Then it is connected to a generator. That generator has a turbine in it and which generates the electric energy. It converts basically the wind energy into electric energy, right? So here what is happening? The kinetic energy from the wind, because of the moving velocity, right? The velocity of the wind has a kinetic energy which converts into kinetic energy in turbine, and this is present in the generator to generate electrical energy. So this is the basic conversion of energy that is taking place. Now next is the disadvantages or limitations of wind energy. So limited speed of wind. If low speed, sufficient energy may not be generated. So like we said that we need a required velocity. Otherwise, if at places where the wind is quite low, the turbines will not be able to move that fast. The fins of the windmill fans will not move that fast, and the electrical energy generation will also be low. Okay. Long-term process, it requires a lot of initial investment, establishment of wind farm and erection of wind turbines, etc. And those big fans that needs to be erected at a certain point, at certain height, so that the flow of wind is constant. So those processes needs to be taken into consideration, and it's a long-term process till the time we can actually generate electricity from it. Then requirement of large area for wind farms, right? So you must have seen the fans are itself so large, and erecting just one fan would not give rise to sufficient amount of electrical energy that we require. So we require a lot of fans to be erected. So we definitely require a large area. Also, we have to make sure that those areas are not covered so that the flow of wind is constant, right? Then high production cost. Obviously, when we are raising so many wind farms and windmills and turbines are need to be invested so that we can get so much output, the investment is also huge. So the production cost is huge. Speed of wind is not constant. It depends on seasonal fluctuation. So during summer times, you might see that the wind is not that much. Close to monsoon, the wind movement is much higher. So there is a seasonal variation to it. So definitely again for that also, there is some limitations of having a wind energy to get converted into electrical energy. So I hope this chapter was clear to you and you can now understand what kind of questions can be asked from this chapter. So, do mark these topics in your book, and next time when you revise it, keep these questions in mind and practice accordingly. Thank you and all the best for your exams.